Okay, I'm Nicole Wendo. I'm a style, lifestyle, and beauty content creator. Other than creating fashion and beauty content, I am also a hairstylist. I have a page called Hair by Midae. It's basically a creative hairstyling business, and a sister, a friend, a sibling. Yeah,
Tell us something interesting, known or unknown, about yourself.
I think the most fun part about me is I love to cook. I think it's not a secret. It's already on the internet. I enjoy cooking. I use it to relax myself. I don't look at it as a chore. Yeah, and I feel like the best part about me is that I can turn any situation into my advantage.
Are you a 5 a.m. type of person or do you wake up late? How's your routine like?
It depends on the day, a lot of days, but I am definitely a morning person. Maybe not 5 a.m., 7 a.m. definitely, yes.
If you were to sum up your personality in 2 words,
Yes.
what would those words be?
Fun and open-minded. Yes.
What inspired you to establish Hair by Midai?
Oh, wow.
And how long has that journey been since you started?
Wow. Okay. So Hair by Midai, funny story. Hair by Midai started off as a business in uni, but at that time it was not really a business because I was doing it for free. I was just doing it for fun. I loved doing hair. My friends wanted their hair done. They loved the looks I'd do on myself. So I decided, you know what? Okay, maybe I can just do this hair. And then I moved back home from uni, and my mom would see me do this hair and just like, do you charge these people? I said, no, I'm just doing it for fun. Before I knew it, my allowance was cut. And through that, that's how Hair by Midai became an actual business, because I had to figure out a way to make that money. And it's been a roller coaster, but of good emotions the entire time. I feel like I've grown so much with that page in the sense that it's helped me, I think, discover my worth in terms of especially like pricing and what kind of audiences that I want to target.
We saw you styling Xenia Manasseh,
Yeah.
blankets and wine.
Yes.
That must have been exciting.
How
did that collaboration come about and what was your creative process?
Okay. Oh, I love working with Xenia. I want to say that first. I feel like it was almost like a manifestation without me realizing it was a manifestation, because when I first discovered Xenia, I was just finishing uni, and I remember thinking, oh, she's so cool. This is just a dark-skinned babe creating such nice R&B music. And I remember DMing her and I was like, oh yeah, I think you're so cool. I love your music. And then I randomly met her one time at an event, and I just told her, hi, Xenia, I'd love to do your hair. And she said, you know what, I'll look for you. And randomly, maybe a year or two after that, she did look for me. And I think I've been her hairstylist now for maybe a year and a half, going to 2, and that's been really nice. So with blankets, it was a lot easier because I'd already worked with her before, and it makes it a lot easier because she already knows what she wants. Xenia she's very specific. She knows what she wants. So what she does is she sends us a mood board, and then from the mood board, we help curate looks through it. So sometimes she just sends me a look and I create it, but most times she gives me creative freedom, which I really love. So for blankets, that's what happened. She had a look in mind with the outfit and the makeup, but she didn't have a look with the hair. So for Hair by Midai, I have a mood board specifically on my Pinterest where I save looks that I would want to try either on myself or on my clients, especially the open-minded creative clients. And I just sent it to her and she picked out a look and I replicated it the best that I could. And what happens with those is it never really is exactly the look that is on the mood board because I personalize it. I make sure there's a little Hair by Midai touch into it. So it was not hard coming up with the style for her blankets show.
How did you develop this sort of signature style?
Oh, this is so interesting. I feel like I have 2 theories with this. The first one is when I was doing last year, I made a decision to be the most stylish person to ever exist in my reality. So I knew I didn't want any outside noise. In my head, I had made up my mind that I'm going to be the most stylish person to ever exist. And then I came up with a challenge. It was a 30-day challenge where I was creating looks every day for 30 days. But in between, I also had other work to create for, and it ended up prolonging. It was 30 days, yes, but it was 30 days in a span of 3 months. And in those 30 days, I learned a lot about what I like and what I don't like just by dressing up. So I'd wear something, and even if I didn't like it, I'd post it. But at the end of the day, I know, oh, okay, I'd never do this again, or I'd do it differently. So in that way, I feel like through the experimenting with that challenge, it really helped me learn how to put pieces together. Another thing is I follow a lot of creators who like to layer or are alike to me. And most times it's not even creators that are like to me. Sometimes it's just people that I think are pretty cool. So I follow different kind of fashion creators. There's the goth aesthetic, there's the clean girl aesthetic, all kinds. And I feel like from them I learn different things. And with that, I figured out how to balance that with my outfits. And on a more technical level, in uni, we had a draping class. It was not my favorite class. I really didn't like that class at all. But it's also mostly because my teacher, she was a bit old. So a lot of the designs I'd come up with the draping, she was just like, this is not practical. And I'm like, it's not meant to be. But I think also that really shaped because I learned how to fold, how to sew, how to place what together. And yeah, I think that's really shaped my style right now.
How do you manage making money while still staying true to your craft?
Oh my God. Okay, I feel like that has been a struggle, and I feel like I'm also still figuring that out. However, for me, I make sure the number one thing I'm doing, whether it is branded work or it's my own work, I have to have fun. Because I feel like when I'm not having fun, everything just becomes terrible. I get really irritable, I get frustrated, I'm an overthinker, so I'll overthink the whole thing. So for me, the first thing is I have to be having a good time to be creating. So even if it's like branded work, it's gonna be fun. It's going to still reflect content that I'd create, even if it's not branded. I think that's it. And another thing is also realizing that everything is content. I think that also switched something in my brain for me. So that way I can easily balance the things that I like and also figure out what would fit like the brand aesthetic as well as my authentic audience. So I feel like my balance really just does come from having a good time and remembering why I started in the first place. Because when I did start, I didn't know people could make money off the internet. I started it just because I loved fashion, just because I want to put myself out there, just because literally. And yeah, every time I remember the just because, it makes it a lot easier to not forget why I started, and it's easier to not blur the lines. Yeah.
How have you learned to manage competition or handle competition over time?
That's very interesting. So I think I mind my business a lot on the internet. It's easy to, because there's so much going on the internet, it's so easy for you to get distracted or feel overwhelmed by what all the other creators are creating. But when you are focused and you know exactly what you're doing, it really doesn't matter if 3,000 people are doing it, because no one can do it with your energy, with your expertise, with what you know. And it's your audience at the end of the day. No one can steal that from you. You know, you have your own aura. So I think reminding myself that really helps.
Your mom is a therapist.
Yes.
How has the profession influenced your personal life, your work, or your personal style?
Oh my gosh. First of all, she thinks my style is very peculiar. Though she's very supportive about it and she loves some of my outfits. She actually, I think more than she knows, really saved this content creation journey, because I remember at a point, I had just moved here. It was a bit hard to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. And she was doing this class for her psychology exam, and she needed to therapize someone. So I was just like, okay, yeah, you can talk to me, but don't ask me anything personal. Let's talk about work. And when we were talking about work, I had mentioned that I was feeling like no one understands me, or that my content is not getting I feel like the recognition that I knew it could get, and it was really frustrating me to the point where I was struggling to show up for my work, or even if I did show up, I was showing up not 100%. So when I expressed this to her, she explained, I'll just give you the question she gave me. She just said, how do you expect people to meet you when you keep stopping in between? And that switched something in my brain chemistry for me, because I was not consistent. I'd create such nice content, or I'd wear a nice outfit, and people would start being like, oh, okay. It's not really weird. It's actually pretty cool. And then after a while, I stopped creating. And then you have to start that cycle again, because now you have to convince people again that I promise you it's actually cool. But when you keep going, people just get used to it. Because right now, let's say if I just wear even a sack, they'll be like, okay, it's when we'll figure it out. And it's because I have created that with the consistency. So I think her talking to me in that way and explaining to me that to maybe just minimize my expectations a bit and just focus on the work that I'm doing and what I want to do really helped me. Yes. So let's thank Mama Wendo for that. Yeah.
Share with us a bit about your educational journey.
Wow.
And how it sort of shaped you to become a stylist per se.
I feel like I was so different in high school. I was such a tomboy, first of all. I knew nothing about putting clothes together. I'd wear whatever it is I would find.
School was this?
What?
Which school was this?
It was Kisumu Senior Academy. So I didn't have any sense of style. And I remember at one point, my mom was just like, okay, enough. I'm not raising a little boy in this house. And she sent me to my aunties to gather me a bit. And my auntie is very proper. So she was like, no, you're a girl. You need to do this. You need to do this. So I think I picked up a little things, and I noticed a lot from that. And I was like, that was my opening in high school. I was just like, okay, I can actually dress nicely, and I don't even need to try too hard in that sense or get expensive clothing. Because I feel like at a point I thought I needed to have an expensive or extensive budget to look good. So I feel like in high school that changed. And then after that experience, I started thrifting a lot, and then moved to uni. And in uni, I did fashion merchandise and textile construction. And so I can sew. And there are a lot of classes as well that were in that course that I really enjoyed. So other than the draping and the color theory, I feel like my uni experience with fashion was not what I expected, because I thought I was going to go to a school like, I don't know, a school in Paris or Italy. When you hear fashion school, you think big, but I got a reality check really quick, and I was like, okay, what is it I can do with what I have now? And as I was continuing in that journey in uni, I started dressing up a lot more, and I realized, oh, it's getting some sort of attention. And I started creating through that. And then I started implementing also a lot of business skills from the fashion, and as well as a lot of the theories from the classes. And I think that just catapulted it. I started finding fun in dressing up in uni.
Can you mention some defining moment that sort of turned you into the person you are?
I think it's when I moved out, when I moved out of home, and I think I just had that realization of, I have to do this and I have to figure it out on my own, and no one really is going to save me. As much as I do maybe have support, I really have to figure it out on my own. I also did a 9-to-5, which I hated so much. And I realized, oh, maybe the 9-to-5 is not for me. So I have to make this work. So when I started doing the content and I got my first check of it, I said, this is good. There's actually money in this industry, and I know who I could be in it. So I'd say definitely the turning point was when I moved out. Then I continued working and got my first check. Then I was like, yeah, and it was better than my 9-to-5 check. So I said, you know what? Exactly, that's what I want to do.
Do you have a specific turning point that hit you like, this is it, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I think last year, wow. What happened last year? I don't know. I just woke up one day and I remember thinking, this has to make sense. I'm a star. I am brilliant. I know what I am doing in terms of content and fashion. And I just knew I needed to show up differently. I felt like I was showing up already 100%. But when I looked back thoroughly, I realized I wasn't being intentional. And I thought about what I could be if I really was 100% intentional with my creativity and my creation and my work. And there's also examples out there, like let's say Achenga Gutu, Joy Candy, they've made a life out of content creation. So yeah, I think that was it for me. Yeah. I just had an aha moment. Yeah.
If you could sit down and have a conversation with one legendary fashion stylist, who will it be and why?
I think I'll stick to Dochi's fashion stylist. Oh my God. Her looks, first of all, have been eating. They're very in touch with the modern day styling, but also it picks up a lot of other eras in it. So it's a combination of everything, which I find that it's a nice contrast. It's a nice, what's the word, juxtaposition of everything. So I feel like I'd like to just peek into their mind and see, okay, what was the thought process behind everything. Another one is Wisdom, for obvious reasons. I feel like he's created a league of his own in the fashion industry. No one can quite literally replicate what he does. And I like his authenticity and his open-mindedness. I love that his fashion is also very experimental. So there's a lot to learn from it. And I'd love to just, have a few, pointers of him, because it's insane. Yes.
What's something beautiful in your life that people don't get to see on the surface level?
I feel like I have a really good community outside just the internet, outside just my friends that I show. The one most beautiful thing and the one thing that I am extremely grateful for is my friends. They've held me down. And we hold each other down. It almost feels like they're my sisters, and as opposed to friends. I really appreciate them. I love. Oh my God, I feel like I'll cry. Oh my God, yeah. Yes, I'd say my friends. That's a beautiful thing about my life at the moment. Yeah.
What's one styling accessory that works with everything?
A tie. A tie. Definitely a tie. Or a belt or rings.
How do you create a signature style that remains timeless?
I feel like there's just one thing you do consistently that people are just like, okay, that's definitely Wendo coded. And for me, usually it's my socks. Socks never run out of style. Socks is a classic. Socks are gonna be here for a lifetime. So with that, it makes it very relatable, because who doesn't own a pair of socks? So I feel like just find one thing maybe in your wardrobe, or one thing about your style or your whole aura that really stands out, and maximize on it. Yes.
What's one habit that you feel is underrated, but you have implemented and it has totally changed your work process?
Spreading my bed. Had to be spreading my bed. I feel like anytime I wake up and I've not spread my bed, especially those days I'm maybe running late on time, my whole day is disorganized. I feel very overwhelmed. My thought process is compromised. But as soon as I start my day with spreading my bed, I feel like there's some sort of order. So there's a whole routine now to follow through that. Yeah.
What do you feel is the most important mindset shift for a creative in order to succeed?
Everything is art. If you don't like it, it doesn't mean it's not art. If it didn't turn out the way you wanted to, it doesn't mean it's not. If it's been rejected, it doesn't mean it's not art. Everything is art. It's just, you learn from, like, for example, I say there's some videos that I will do that I absolutely do not like. And some of the times those are the videos that even go crazier than the ones I've put more time and more effort into. So I just say everything is art, and don't criticize yourself.
Is there something that you feel people assume about you based off your lifestyle that could be further from the truth?
I want to say a lot of people think I'm from a wealthy background, like filthy rich, maybe trust fund baby crazy. But no, I have not. yeah, I think that's just it. I've humble beginnings and brought myself here, you know. I just had a dreamer mother. I'd say that. Yes. Yes.
If time and money were not a problem, where would you go and what experience would you seek out?
This is interesting. I've really wanted to try Venice in Italy. I really want to do the boat. Is it the canoe ride? Yes, I really would love to do that. Yes, and also the fashion is insane. Or I'd like to go to like New York Fashion Week or like Paris Fashion Week. Yes.
How do you filter out genuine connections from surface level connections?
I'm very intentional with the people I surround myself with. So, and I'm very also big on energies. So I'd read your energy. And if it's just not aligning, I'm sorry, it's just not aligning. And I will not pretend. Sometimes I'll just let you know upfront that honestly, I'm not in a capacity to be your friend right now. I wouldn't be a good friend to you if we are friends right now. And I'd rather say that than lie that I'm going to be your friend and then I don't show up correctly. So a lot of times I just let them know. I'm just like, okay, I'm not in a space to be friends right now, but we can definitely work together or we can work towards building that relationship. Maybe eventually as we keep going, yeah, that would happen. I feel like just honesty, to be honest.
So far in your journey, what has been your biggest win and what has been your biggest L?
I think my biggest win I have worked with brands that I had when I was in uni. I would remember telling my roommates, how do people work with these people? And I didn't realize I was living in that prayer until maybe sometime last year. And I was like, okay, we're kind of doing good. We're winning. I feel like that was a win for me, working with brands that I have wanted to work with. And the one big L, I feel like could be losing some friends in the process. Yeah, not everyone comes with you through the journey, and that has been really hard. And letting go of friendships that don't align with the process. Through sometimes they just don't align, sometimes they just end, sometimes they're just not supportive. I think that's the one of the L's. I wouldn't say biggest, but yeah, losing people in between your process.
How do you define excellence in your day-to-day life and how do you strive to embody it?
For me, excellence just means being fulfilled. What does being fulfilled mean to me? So I'm just like, for as long as I have finished the tasks of the day, that's a successful day for me. As long as I have done things that I had wanted to do on that list, even if it's not all of it, but most of it is cleared. I'm just like, okay, this has been a good day. What can't be done today can be done tomorrow. Yeah, and also another thing that has taught me is failure is also part of the process. You can't win every day. I mean, you can, but the mistakes are part of the process.
Which music, book, TV show, movie, or podcast are you listening to right now?
Okay, I just finished watching Us with my mom, but I've watched this before, so that's one. Music. I feel like I listen to so many different people, but I'd say Zinnia, she's very calming. Love it, 100%. Yeah, I feel like everyone should give her a good listen. Yes. I'm currently reading, if you're into self-help, I'm currently reading You're a Badass at Making Money. And there's this love romance book as well that I'm reading is Honey Girl. But I'd say also Confessions of Nairobi Women. It's like a good way to just give yourself a reality check and see like literally how people are living. I've not listened to a podcast in a long time, but the last one I listened to was The Psychology of Your 20s. Yeah.
Which song, album, or movie best describes your life right now and why?
If it has to be an album, I'd say the Alligator album by Doechii, definitely. I like the come up of everything and how she speaks about her life and the things that happen around. I feel like it resonates. It's like she just woke up and remembered, oh, I am the Doechii the Dawn. And I feel like I'm also in that process. Yeah, that resonates a lot with me.
Which other individuals or brands would you like to collaborate with?
Okay, for brands, I'd love Minute Maid. I feel like I'd do such fun content for them. I feel like that would be really up my alley. I was thinking also juicy fruit. Yes. I like the campaign they did. It looks very fun. It looks like something a creative would enjoy doing. So I'd really like that. What else? I want like a nice dessert or Kit Kat dessert brand. So either like a Kit Kat, a Twix, Dairyland. You know, hit me up. I'm ready to work. For collaborations individually, I've been really trying to get one in with Kimanzi. I feel like that would be really fire. I also think CJ would be fire as well. I don't know if you guys know Stella, but I think, do you? I don't know. She really creates cool layering content. I'd love to do a collab with her. I'd love to do a collab with Joy Candy as well. I feel like that would be so much fun seeing two different generations like styling videos. I feel like that would be amazing. That'd be perfect.
List your top 5 Kenyan celebrities with amazing style.
Top 5, me, number 1. I just put myself there, I'm just saying. I love Skuma Wiki style. That's really cool. I don't know if you guys know him. He's called Tokyo. He's more on the creative side and he's on Pinterest more than any other. Yeah, I feel like they're really cool. Oh, Bien guys have been eating. Their stylists are not sleeping. I really like how they show up. I love their outfits. Charisma's style has gone crazy. Emojong is doing his thing. Definitely Samantha. That's my friend. Hey, girl. She's pretty cool. Who else? I follow so many creators for fashion. I like Rita. I like Wills. I love Kimanzi's work. Yeah, I feel like off the top of Skuma Wiki, chef's kiss. Yeah, I feel like off the top of my head, those are the ones.
Lastly, we're introducing this thing whereby you recommend an exceller that you know who you'd want to be in pursuit of excellence.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. And then you'll tell us something that we'll tell them when they come.
Just one. Samantha. Yes. Samantha Nyakoe. She's a fashion creator and beauty and lifestyle creator. Yeah, you get. And CEO of Closet Plug. Exactly.